सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Okay, I'll chant the Shanti mantra first. Om Bhadram Karneभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। I also chant the few mantras of third section. अथ हि एनं कौशल्यः च आश्वलायनः पप्रच्छ भगवन् कुत एष प्राणो जायते कथम् आयाति अस्मिन् शरीरे आत्मानं वा प्रविभज्य कथं प्रातिष्ठते केन उत्क्रमते कथं बाह्यम् अभिधत्ते कथम् अध्यात्मम् इति।
Is that the first one?
That's the first one in query 3.
Yeah.
That's the second one also. Tasmai saho vacha ati prashnan pruchhasi brahmishtha asi iti tasmat te aham bravimi. Atmana esha prano jayate yatha esha purushe chhaya asya etasmin etat atatam manokrutena ayati ashmin sharire. I chanted with the splitted sandhi, so that we can pick the word independently. Okay, so we have seen that the teacher is talking about the world as a manifestation or the development from the Rai and Prana, and followed by that particular explanation about the creation. Now the prana is being focused upon, and that is also very dramatically explained well, that how important the prana is in entire our personality, at the same time in the cosmos. And the same prana is functioning in the personality and the cosmos. Now, having said that, the prana is a vital force which beholds this body and the cosmos. Student wants to know much more about the prana. Because prana being the vital or most important, among all, I want to know much more about the prana, functioning of the prana within this body and outside as well. And for that, in that line, the student asks the question, rather a series of questions, total 6 questions he asks. What he says that, okay, I want to know where this prana comes from, how this prana enters into this body. Third, how the prana self-divides and rests or function in the body. 4, how prana departs this body. 5, how prana beholds the cosmos. And 6, how prana beholds the individual. So these are the 6 questions are being asked, and teacher is pleased with the question, and teacher starts answering the question, and teacher says, Atmana esha prana jayate. That's a very important one. Where prana comes from? What is the cause of prana? The answer to that question is being given over here. Atmana, from self, from consciousness principle. Sat Chit Ananda, Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma. From that self, this prana comes. Jayate, that comes. Okay. Even in a Taittiriya Upanishad also has been said that Tasmat etasmat atmana akasha sambhutah akashad vayo vayoragni agne apa prithvi prithviyam oshadaya praja, like that. Means that entire creation came from the self or consciousness principle. Here, the relative substratum of the cosmos, which is prana, came from the self. Okay. And which way it came? Okay. Which way it was born? What is the nature of birth of prana? That has been explained very precisely over here, and such precision is not seen much in other Upanishads also, where there is a creation which is given. It says how it has been born from the self. He says yatha purushe chaya. What Upanishad wants to say, that prana or birth of prana is like the birth of shadow which emerges from the human. Okay. Shadow is, okay, you cannot deny, but shadow doesn't have its own independent existence. Okay. See, the till point, we were looking at prana at individual level and the cosmic level, everything was true. Okay. It is there is a prana, there are different objects, there are different cosmic elements, there are different devatas, etc. At this point, the cause of the cosmos, substratum of the cosmos, which is prana, is compared with the shadow. Okay. So that's the big turning point over here. The shadow doesn't have its own independent existence. The man or the person has his or her independent existence. In example, we can see it clearly. And how the shadow is born out of person? It comes naturally. There is no action, there is no desire, there is no ambition, there is no goal, no, there is no planning, nothing. It just comes out as a part of the phenomena. And whatever comes out, we call it shadow, doesn't have its own existence also, but it's there. So that's I would say that's the biggest googly, that it is there, but it's not there. But at that level, which level? Where we are comparing with the self. Within creation, or when the individuality is taken as a real, the rest of the cosmos is also the real. But when there is a point of self-inquiry, then there is a question about the existence of the prana. Okay. So within cosmos, things are real because I have taken this personality as a real. Okay. But when I inquire into nature of self, what Shruti says, what Veda says, that self alone is real. Self alone has its own independent existence. The sattah, the sat principle. Sat means existence principle. The existence principle belongs only to the self. So then what about the creation, what we see around? There is an apparent creation. It appears to be. It is experienced also, yes. But when we talk about the reality of it, it's not real. The way we experience very many different happenings, we transact also. But when we wake up, what we say? It was a dream. Means it was experience, but it was not real. The reality is completely cut off. The sense of reality is cut off. The same way here also, the prana, when it's seen or compared with the self, the reality doesn't exist at the prana side. The prana doesn't really exist. Okay. What exists is the self alone. Because ultimately we want to do self-inquiry. And part of it is a prana inquiry. So, prana exists as a shadow, just like a shadow.
Of course, using that comparison, the shadow is actually an absence of life.
It can be said absence of life, but it is connected with the body, connected with the object.
Yeah.
But without light, no shadow.
That's also true. And without person, no shadow. Here, that aspect if we take of example, because we want to point out the reality, existence. So existence doesn't belong to shadow. Existence belongs to the person or object. That's the example we take. And apply over here with self and prana. The self does exist. The existence principle is self. And prana, which is called born out of, is just like a shadow. It has its apparent existence. Or we can say borrowed existence. Because as long as there is an object, so long the shadow is. Remove the object, shadow also goes off. Okay.
And shadow is not a thing.
It's not a thing.
You cannot catch it. You cannot grab it. You cannot see it.
Exactly. So that existence point, because the self-inquiry actually in a nutshell is that existence principle inquiry. Okay. So what about this creation? The creation came out from the self, okay, just like that, without any purpose, without any plan, without any kind of goal, nothing, just came about. That's why at this angle, at this height and this angle, the creation is called as a play. Okay. There is another Vedantic text called Yoga Vasishtha, where there is a conversation between Rama and Vasishtha Muni. The Rama was a rather teenager, and he had a lot of inquiries, lot of issues, related to world. So he was asking questions, Vasishtha was answering, and from his answer, from Guru's answer, he was again finding some more questions and asking them. So over there, at one point, Vasishtha Muni says that this world emerges from the self the way the waves emerge from the ocean. It's natural, just comes. Same way, that is natural for the world to emerge from the self, stay for some time, and go back to the self. Okay. So that's the ultimate truth, or that's the ultimate truth of prana also, when we compare with the self. And
of course the waves only come about because there's a wind.
Because there is a
wind.
Yeah.
Without wind there would be
nothing.
Wind.
Yes.
It would be perfectly.
Definitely, yes. Means it happens. It's just a natural phenomena. The ocean doesn't desire for the wave, or ocean doesn't desire for the flat surface also. It just comes up. Okay. So same way here, although the self doesn't desire for the world, and self doesn't desire for the cessation of the world as well. Okay. So that's the phenomena. So that's a phenomenal happening at the creation level. Okay. And if you look at back again the shadow principle, the example of shadow, the shadow can be many. Of one object, there can be many shadows, and that we look at in any kind of a day-night match. The night match, when there is in a ground, the lights comes from the different spots, and we see that one person has multiple shadows. So same way that there are multiple shadows, there is a plurality over there of one person. The same way the self is one, and there is a plurality what we see in the world around. Okay. So that's very interesting example given by Shruti herself, by Upanishad herself, that how the prana born out of the self, it's just like a shadow. Okay. It doesn't have its own separate existence. So we can derive one more thing from this, that any existence we see in the creation is the existence of self, existence of Brahman. And rest, we can say prana, or we can say maya. Okay. So that's the higher fact about prana. Okay. So that's kind of answering the question 1.
But then I see a difference, because the prana is effective. It has an effect. It gives the senses possibility to exercise their function. A shadow has no effect.
True. So that's why the example gives a one particular angle to help understand the phenomena. Oh, something in my eyes.
Bit of prana.
So example helps understand one particular angle. So what's the angle to understand from this example is existence. The prana is there multifold way it functions also. That's also true. because the Upanishad mentions that also, that how the prana is functioning in an individual and total as well, both. But rather, at this point, important is what? What is the existence, where the existence belongs to? And existence belongs to the self, not the prana. Like the shadow doesn't have its own existence. The existence belongs to the object or the person, not the shadow. That much. Okay, so that angle we need to derive from. Okay, so having said that how that prana came about, the Atmanah esha prana jayate. That's one, And second also it says, Katham asmin sharire ayati. That's the second question. First question is answered. It goes very methodically. Okay. First question, Katham prana jayate, Atmanah prana jayate. And with example, Yatha Purusha Chaya. Now second question is asked, is dealt with. Katham asmin sharire ayati. Now, it's talking about how the prana enters in this body. Okay, the answer is manokrutena. Means now mind, sankalpa, based on sankalpa of mind. Based on the thought, what we have or what mind is entertaining, based on that there will be one particular entry. So here we can connect the reincarnation. Okay, that how based on one's own sankalpa, okay, one enters in or one takes one particular type of a body. Okay, so asmin sharire ayati means takes prana enters in one particular body based on the mind's sankalpa. Okay, individual mind, its sankalpa, based on that prana enters. We call it janma, the birth. Okay, and how long it will stay? As long there is a prarabdha. So basically, sankalpa followed by karma. Okay, or there is a cyclic process. Karma followed by impression, which is followed by the sankalpa. Okay, the thought. Okay. So, entry of the prana in particular body is based on the karma cycle. That's what it says. That's the second answer. Okay. It's going smooth so far. Okay. And the third question again is being asked that Atmana katham pravibhajya pratisthate. How prana self divides into 5 and beholds this body. That's the question, and that's answered in the next mantra 4. Yatha samrad eva adhikrutan viniyuktai etan graman aditishthasva eva esha evamesha pranah itaran pranan pruthak eva sannidhatte. So, okay, that answer is also quite simpler with the example. That how prana subdivides into 5, self divides into 5. The Upanishad gives an example. The way there is a big kingdom and the king wants to rule that particular kingdom. So what king will do for better management, better administration, will subdivide the kingdom into several parts and allocate each part to one minister. Okay, you handle this area, you handle that area, you handle that area, like that. The way we have in our current governance also, there is a ministry. So ministry takes care of one particular aspect of governance. Okay. Like each minister is given what we say, portfolio. Okay. The portfolio has been given. And as a part of the portfolio, the prime minister or president somewhere also keeps some portfolio with himself or herself. Okay, that's also the case. So here also the same. The prana delegates the certain functioning of the body to another ones, another ministers, and then some part keeps with himself also. So what he says, evam pranaha itaran pranan pruthak pruthak sannidhatte. Then now comes to the picture apana, vyana, udana and samana. Okay. So there are 4 more apart from prana, and 5 together is functioning well this body that we have seen earlier also. The respiratory system, digestive, circulatory, excretion and reversing. Okay, that we have seen.
And this is natural. There's no intention there.
Is a natural. Is a phenomenal. It happens. That way it's been done, kind of, So the way the water cycle is natural, evaporation and then the transmission and then it rains like that is a natural. Same way this subdivision and taking particular portfolio is natural.
And does it account for the theory of evolution? Is there a possible link with the evolution, what is believed today, as being the history of humankind? Yes.
No, actually it doesn't match with actually. Rather it matches contrary. Because in the theory of evolution says that there was only first one particular primitive being and then evolved into more over the time. And here actually doesn't match with what Vedanta says. Vedanta says that all beings existed ever. And that jiva, based on the karma, takes on the body of different species. So means at this time human body, next time maybe buffalo body. It goes that way. You never know. So it goes that way basically. So it's not like a linear growth. Rather it's a growth of consciousness based on some experiences and self-correction mechanism, how it works well. Based on that there is an evolution. So body-based evolution is not been talked about. Rather inner evolution is been dealt with. And body-based, all these species exist. Like that. See, it's that way. At higher angle only we can just try to understand that. It is that way that when there was a dream started, at very first point everything was there. All setup was there and we were just playing around. Sometimes happy, sometimes sad, like that, So same is the platform or the stage of this world where things are there already, not only different species but different lokas also, which science is yet to discover. There is a different loka or different field of experience, and having this body, we are experiencing one particular range of experience, and there is a higher and lower field of experiences as well. This is yet to discover. Okay, so now how these 5 pranas, they function, they take on the different function of this body is been explained over here. And why it has been explained, let's look at that point first. Because the prana we have already the hold on the prana, which functions as a prana, apan, vyana, udana and saman within this body, which we have it. We need to link that prana, focus over there, okay, and then link with the prana in the total. Okay. Because we need a starting point. The starting point is right in our body. Okay. That's what they are telling. Okay, so now the next mantra talks about the functioning of all different pranas, means 5 pranas now. Vayu upastha apana chakshusrotre mukhanashikabhyam pranah swayam pratisthate madhye tu samanah esha hi etam annam samam nayati tasmat eta saptah archisha bhavanti. So third question, katham swatmanam pravibhajya pratisthate. How one prana self divides and beholds this body. So explains here each and every function of one particular prana. Payu upasthe apanam. Payu upastha means excretion by apana vayu. Apana. Okay. So apana takes care of excretion. Okay. It can be the sweating also. The apana takes care of that. Removal of the waste, like garbage disposal department. Chakshu shrotre prana. Now the prana is also functioning through eye and ear. Mukhanasika nigachanti. Nigachan. It comes out and goes in through the nostrils, or sometimes mouth as well. So the prana, out of 5 which is prana, the respiratory system, okay, that's active over here. That's what it says. Then madhye tu samanah. Madhye means that middle portion, the stomach. The digestive force is due to samana. Samana vayu. Esha hi etat hutam annam samam nayati. Means all the food what we eat is again brought to the samana for digestion purpose. Okay. And naturally that digestion is followed by the distribution of the food or energy. Okay. The digestion is followed by distribution of energy. So this digestion in elsewhere also is called digestive fire. Okay. Aham Vaishwanaro bhutva praninam deham ashritah. Vaishwanar Agni. Okay. Digestive fire. That is apana. And that fire, okay, because that fire principle is here says saptah archisha bhavanti. Saptah archisha bhavanti. Means one digestive fire is there in a middle portion which is called samana. Another fire is there at a face. Okay. On the face, which is prana. Energy. Okay. The flame of the fire is different. Flame of the fire is in terms of hearing power, seeing power, the talking power, like that, the breathing power, like that it goes. So these are the seven holes in the face, which is called the locus of 7 different type of flame. Okay, that's the Upanishadic way of expressing. Elsewhere also has been expressed that saptah agni, saptah archi is in a Mundaka Upanishad also, the same thing, but different way.
He's the expert in fire, of course.
Yes. True. Executing fire. Okay, so that's about prana, apana and samana. Now the next mantra is talking about the vyana. Okay. And the vyana, to explain the vyana, it talks about the subtler aspect of our body also. We'll see. Hridhi hyesha atma atra etat ekashata nadinam tasam shatam ekasya द्वासप्ततिः pratishakhā nādi sahasrāni bhavati asu vyana charati. Now the point is about vyana. So vyana, what is the position of vyana? Because samana we have seen that, okay, the middle portion. Vyana is whole body. Vyana is whole body, and it's called, in a portfolio we can say that transport ministry is everywhere in the country, like that. And how the vyana moves about in this body, entire body, the way the transport happens through roads. In the body there are also roads. It's called nadi. Okay, the nadi. And there is a naturally hub, okay, of any kind of a transport. Here there is also hub. Hub is a heart. Esha atma hridi vartate. Here atma doesn't mean that self. Okay. So hridi vartate, the heart, that's where the origination of the nadi is, or nadi starts from there. Okay, and travel across entire body and travels towards each and every body cell.
Is that the arteries?
The artery, veins, and then sub veins and sub, it goes that way.
So when we say heart, it's actually the organ.
The organ. That's
not the spiritual heart.
No, the organ, actually. Even in that line, that Bhagwan Shankaracharya in his commentary says also that when you cut open, the animal skin, and what we see, the muscular part, muscular organ, that's what I'm talking about as a heart. That's the heart is being talked about over here. No, it's okay, because that may come anywhere.
You're flying.
So the heart, which is in our left side, in our chest, that's been talked about over here. Okay, and from where different veins just come out, the nadis come out. Okay, and very interesting that the mind, antakarana, the locus of antakarana is also heart. Okay, the way is called, in Sanskrit is called golaka, the resting place or sitting place, functioning place. The resting or functioning place of eye is here, okay, through eyeballs. Okay, and then we know that all this visual cortex and all this there in the brain, but organ of eye actually is a part of the subtle body. It's not a gross one. It's a subtle body. Okay, the chakshu indriya is a subtle body, part of subtle body, functioning through this gross, all this setup, eyeballs, etc., especially the eyeballs. The same way, the mind, where mind sits, the mind sits in the heart.
But
Okay.
usually when Hridaya is used elsewhere, it's not referring to the physical heart, is it? It's referring to the spiritual heart.
That's true. That's true. Why it is being said that way? Because over there, when Hridaya is being explained or just told about, is talking about our pure emotional structure, our pure emotions towards the God, like that. So not the physical organ, but the mind itself. Okay, the mind is Hridaya Guha. Such word is also been explained, in the Upanishad itself. So then there is a core of mind that way. So same way, like, as I said, that chaksu, the eye can be eyeballs also, and can be the sense also, the eye sense. Okay, so when we say eye sense, it's not eyeball. That way it can be seen. So here also Hridi esha hridi atra nadinam etat ekashatam bhavati. Now that's now some little more technical comes. From this heart, 100 different nadis come out. Okay. And another Upanishad called Katha Upanishad talks about 101 nadis. That one nadi coming out from the heart is called Sushumna. Sushumna nadi. That's what in a yoga, or in any kind of evolution, any kind of, in the sense that from any aspect we see evolution, that Sushumna nadi is the like a spiritual awakening aspect is been connected. Okay, so that's the special nadi.
It's a micro.
So everything is micro.
Yes, it is micro.
No. So the Sushumna nadi, okay, is one of them. It's called Pradhana nadi also, the main one, important one, like that. Okay, that's why it is been separated one. You know that we know that our Vertebrata is like a Ida, Pigla, and Sushumna. You must have heard that 3 veins, main ones: Surya nadi, Chandra nadi, and that Madhya nadi is called Sushumna. No, okay.
Does yoga use these terms as well?
A lot. Yes. And further he says, Tasam ekaikasya shatam shatam bhavati. Now, each nadi subdivides into 100. So, 100 into 100, 10,000. So, now there are 10,000 nadis because it need to travel across the body. The body is not small, it's a big one. Tasam ekasya dvasaptati sahasrani bhavanti. Now, each nadi of 10,000 subdivides into 72,000. 72,000. Such a precise way it's been explained over here. That's wonderful. It's called Prati Shakha Nadi. One is a Shakha Nadi, like a branch. One is a main, then there is a branch, and there is a sub branch. Bifurcation. So in total, the nadis are 72 crore. Okay, that many nadis are in one human body. And I heard in science also that if we just connect the veins, the body veins, end to end, it can circle the entire earth. One person's veins, it can circle entire earth 2.5 times.
1.5.
Or 1.5, okay, 1.5 times.
No, I'm asking.
2.5.
Oh, 2.5.
2.5. I heard 2.5. I didn't check, but
Maybe if it's an obese person, then they would cover a greater distance. Americans.
yeah, maybe with the longer height, all the 7, like basketball players, they're 3 times then.
How the short is going?
The short 1 time.
The short is going.
Okay, so that way, asu vyana charati. And through that nadis, this long nadis, very, 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 very thin nadis also, that vyana flows through. Okay, the circulatory system, the transportation system in this body is explained over here like that. Okay, we can move ahead. And then the last one is a udana. Prana, apana, samana, vyana is done. Now udana. What is the function of udana? Atha ekayo urdhvam udana punyena punya lokam nayati papena papam ubhabhyam eva manusya lokam. Now, position of udana is not directly mentioned. Like that we have seen samana is a madhya, vyana everywhere. Udana is not directly mentioned over here. We can understand that udana urdhvam, it says, so neck and above. Okay, that's where udana is, upper position. Okay. And
which one is it, Udana?
udana
Which function is it?
is is a reversing function. Reversing function. But here there is a special function has been explained over here of the udana. When the jiva is about to leave the body for good, this udana becomes active. Udana becomes active most, super active.
Is that a nadi?
No, now it's not nadi anymore. It's one of 5 pranas. Okay, one of 5 pranas. That udana becomes active most, and rest of all pranas, rest of all 4 pranas are passive most. They are packed up, and this udana ejects from this body and takes the jiva along. So that's the special job, specially assigned job to udana. Like in our country also there are some like a special assigned job. In special cases only they will be activated, otherwise they will be passive. Like we say Marine commandos, they will be only active when there is a very, very distinct operation to be done. Otherwise they not chill out, they do practice and all, but they are in their zone only.
Get ready.
Yes, not in active mode in the field. So same way here also, the udana, mostly that the main feature is that, okay, taking out the jiva. Other is also reversing function, the vomit etc. is also there, like sneezing and vomit, but that happens sometimes only, not in a regular way. But that mrityu kala or the death time, this udana only functions and takes out the jiva from the body. Okay. So that's the question 4. Kena utkramate? How this jiva or this prana comes out of his body? So it says here, the words of the Upanishad says, the mantra says, Atha ekaya nadya. Now there's a combination is given, okay? Now the nadi comes. The ejection by udana. Ejection from where? From where in the body? Atha ekaya nadya. From one nadi, one particular nadi. That is called eka nadi, means that's sushumna nadi. Okay, sushumna nadi. The prana escapes or ejects from this sushumna nadi. And here we are talking the case of the yogi, the sadhaka. Okay, not the ordinary person. Okay, ordinary person, for that the sushumna nadi is not open. It goes from different another sources. Here the sushumna nadi is opened, okay, because of that yogic sadhana and purity, and during a time of a death, this sadhaka or upasaka can activate the udana towards the sushumna nadi. Actually, the same thing is also given in Bhagavad Gita chapter 8. Prayana kale, like a mrityu kale, what happens like that? So over there also, for upasaka or for the sadhaka, seeker, is been given that through this particular sushumna nadi, one rises through that, and then rises and then ejects, okay, from sahasrar, from the tip of the face or tip of the head.
That's where it is located.
No, that's the exit point. Okay, because nadi is like in a vertebra, in the back. That's where it's been seen, and the jiva travels through that sushumna and exits from this sahasrar, which is right here, the top of the skull. It's a different reason for the choti. It's a different reason.
In Bhagwan's case, he had a disciple who looked after him earlier on in his life. And then when he was about to die, Bhagwan put his hand on his heart and his head. And he unfortunately removed it just before he was passing away, and so otherwise for his mother, when he did that, he left his hand there and the jiva merged into the spiritual heart. So then there was release. So it wasn't coming out from the top or any other part of the body.
That's true.
Merged into the center.
Yeah, that's the case. That's the difference. The way, I just told that that there's a difference between spiritual seeker and the ordinary person.
Yeah.
Same way there is a difference between the spiritual seeker and a gnani.
Yeah.
Okay. In case of gnani, the prana doesn't go anywhere.
Yes.
There is no exit, there is no travel, nothing. In case of gnani, when this body just drops, the prarabdha is over any angle we see, the vyashti prana becomes one with the samashti prana, that's all. There is no travel for jiva because there is no jiva at all.
Yeah.
There is no jiva to search for.
What happens to the spiritual seekers? Does it go out from the top?
That's, I'm talking for the spiritual seeker of the higher order. And for them, it go out from the top. Okay.
Some from the eyes as well.
From the eyes also. Then different locations. Then because there are say 9 openings, in our body. The lowers also. Some from the lower. The ordinary ones from the lower. Okay. And those who are evolved, again from the mouth also, nostrils also, eyes also. Like that it goes, And those who has perfected their sadhana to a good extent, the one who are very good upasakas, for them this sushumna is throughout open, they exit from here. Okay. So that job is done by udana. Regardless from where they exit, the job is done by udana. Okay. So that's what is mentioned over here. Ekya nadya, by one nadi. Okay. Urdhva udana. So urdhva deshastha udana. And from that nadi, that sushumna nadi, one goes up, goes out. That's the ideal case. Okay. Now we see any general case. Okay. That let me finish that also. One who exits from this sahasrar, that particular place, that jiva, the Shastra says that jiva is entitled to enter into Satyaloka, the highest loka in the creation, highest realm of existence in a creation. Okay. And now here, then what's the gati? What's the journey next for that jiva? The Upanishad says, punyena punya lokam nayati, papena papa lokam nayanti. The based on one's own karma, lifelong, what kind of life one has led. Was it moral? Was it just? Was it as a seeker, as a spiritual seeker, or ordinary? Okay. Was it immoral? Anything. Based on the type of karma and resultant of that karma, that jiva will travel either higher loka or lower loka. There is no guarantee that one will go high only. Punyena, punya lokam. One will go in a higher loka, we call in general heaven also. Okay. Where the higher level of existence, where there is a more conduciveness, there is more joy, kind of, And lower level of existence is also there, where there is a much more pain. Okay. That's one does papam, unjust acts, selfish acts goes down. And there is one more combination, ubhabhyam manushya lokam, when there is a mixture, little this, little that. Doesn't fall in one category, but there is a mixture of both. Okay. So that manushya lokam comes back as a human. And that's why as a human, we are having like a very, very divine time going on, so much jolly time, and sometimes horrible time, So horrible events also happen, and the divine or jolly events also happen, because that's what is available in a Manushya Loka. At times heavenly, at times helly. That way. Okay. So that happens. I also remember that, in an instance, I just talked about those who act selfishly, just act selfishly and just snatch away others' right also and all. One Swamiji in Himalaya only was telling that, there are that donkeys are there, on which back people also go, and that all the goods are also being taken at high altitudes, and their condition is quite miserable. When we look at it, we also feel pity. What a miserable condition they are having. Okay, so with that context, our discussion was going on. That Swamiji told that we need. He told that we need that selfish people in around. We need them. Okay. We need that unjust, immoral people. Yes. Otherwise, if they are not there, then after they die, who will become donkey?
That is very fair.
We need donkeys over here. Who will carry the load up there? I said a very nice way to say, actually.
Very, very selfish, actually. So I don't know where the Swami is going.
That's the balancing of universe.
Actually, the subtle message was the karma. Yes, these donkeys are nothing but those selfish people. After dying, they become this only. So, yes, so that's about Udana. Okay, so Udana is ejection of the prana or the jiva out of this body for good. And where it will take, Udana will take where? Depends on the one's own karma or resultant karma. Okay, so that's Panchadha Pravibhajya. That's been answered. Okay, and now the next question is also been now dealt. What is the next question? How the prana beholds the total, the universe. Okay, and there is a connection between both two. Now it's very interesting. Connection between set of 5 over here in this body and the same set of 5 outside in the cosmos also. That's the connection. Okay. Things are there already. We need to be aware of it. And in order to be aware, we need to decondition ourselves. We are stuck somewhere. We are attached somewhere. We need to unhook ourselves from there and be aware of this phenomena already happening naturally. Okay, that's the objective. Twofold. Unhook and be aware of. That much is okay. Then now we'll see the connection of micro and macro. All these 5 pranas here and the same 5 forces over there in the macro also. Okay, that's been connected too. Okay, that we'll see tomorrow. Okay, now
that is section 8, is it? Verse 8.
Verse 8, that's correct. Right, okay. Aditya Vai Prana was that one.
Yeah.
That we'll see tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, Purnamada. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Hari Om. Jai Ma.